You shall not covet your neighbor's house, you shall not covet your neighbor's wife, or his maidservant, or his female servant, or his ox, or his donkey, or anything that is your neighbor's. It is Tuesday, the 7th day of March, 2023, and it's time for the reading of our devotional thought for today, coming from the book Truth for Life by Pastor Alistair Begg. Today's devotional thought is entitled, Not Content to Covet. That's not content to covet. The verse for today, Exodus chapter 20, verse 17, which reads, You shall not covet your neighbor's house, you shall not covet your neighbor's wife, or his maidservant, or his female servant, or his ox, or his donkey, or anything that is your neighbor's. That's Exodus chapter 20, verse 17. Alistair Begg writes, The 10 Commandments did not come easy on us as they come to their close. Each of the 4 commands prior to the 10th deals primarily, though not exclusively, with our actions. This one takes a different approach, taking aim at our desires and our attitudes. When God forbids coveting, He confronts us with the seemingly universal problem, the desire to have for ourselves what God has chosen to give to another. The object of our envy may take any number of forms: prestige, position, possession, to name just a few. The Apostle John knew how easily our hearts fall into coveting when he warns us, Do not love the world or the things in the world. All that is in the world, the desires of the flesh, the desires of the eye, and the pride of life, is not from the Father, but is from the world. That's 1 John chapter 2, verses 15 through 17. In addition, to understand what and how easily we are tempted to covet, it is important to acknowledge the ruinous effects coveting has on us. It spoils relationship and lies behind many of our disagreements. It is impossible to love someone while we covet something they have. It makes us selfish. It causes us to fixate on material things. All of these efforts are touched one by one of Jesus' warnings relating to coveting. When a man approached him with concerns about his inheritance, Jesus bypassed the question to get to the heart of the problem, and the warning is precisely what our covetous hearts need to hear. Take care and be on your guard against covetousness, for one's life does not consist in the abundance of his possessions. And that's Luke chapter 12, verse 15. How easily we forget this very truth, believing instead that true and lasting joy would be ours if we could only have a little more money, a little more fame, a little more free time, or a little bit more of whatever else we see others enjoying and covet for ourselves. So, how do we combat this dangerous sin? If coveting is a disordering of our desires, then we must actively cultivate right desires. Through Bible reading and prayer, through worship and fellowship, we can increase our appetite for godly things, all the while purposefully shrinking our appetite for worldly things. These kinds of habits will lead us into lives of contentment, so that we can say with the psalmist, Whom have I in heaven but you? And there is nothing on earth that I desire besides you. My flesh and my heart may fail, but God is the strength of my heart and my portion forever. And that's Psalm 73, verses 25 and 26. Do you long for your heart to be content? Do you want to guard against coveting? Then seek and find satisfaction in God alone. Next time you find you are sad for yourself rather than happy for yourself because they have a blessing that you do not have, ask God to enable you to say to yourself and to mean it, There is nothing on earth as great as knowing God. There is no earthly blessing that can endure to eternity. Therefore, I shall be satisfied in Him and Him alone. And truly may God give us that desire to pray, that there is nothing on earth as great as knowing Him, and there's no earthly blessing that can endure to eternity. Therefore, Lord, help me to be satisfied in you and you alone. In Jesus' name. And that concludes the reading of our devotional thought for this Tuesday, the 7th day of March, 2023. And those of you reading the one-year Bible, your verses today, Job chapter 5, 6, and 7, and 1 Corinthians chapter 3. Clive Walsh here. May the Lord richly bless you.